Reagan looked for a job. Sometimes she set a quota number of applications for the day, 10 or 20, and stopped looking for a job after that. Sometimes she set out to exhaust a certain source, such as the food bev hosp section of Craigslist postings of the last 3 days. Sometimes she preloaded or targeted jobs in a neat row of open tabs and then set an alarm to wake up the next morning and made coffee and applied to jobs while drinking the coffee and then ate breakfast while continuing to apply for the jobs and at some point stared at her bookshelf for an indeterminate amount of time until snapping out of it and finishing applying for jobs, deciding not to apply for a few of them after all, taking a shower and sighing, it now being the early afternoon, the day feeling already as gone as the shower water sliding down the drain and away. Sometimes a friend forwarded her a job and she had to drop everything to pursue it. The cover letters were forms which she adapted and saved each copy of in a folder called Cover Letters, picking the most applicable and recent one and amending it. Sometimes she wrote cover letters for jobs
northbound is arriving in 1 minute.
That seemed like they should not require cover letters. Positions as parking assistants and weekend ice cream cruise attendants. Some cover letters had no one to address. Some job ads were so vague as to not include even a company to book into the cover letters. Sometimes she forgot to change a name in a cover letter and would know it within seconds of sending it and feel an incredible sinking in her chest of embarrassment and waste. Some job ads were scams and resulted in emails proposing to send a large check from overseas. Some job applications required in-depth reporting of past employment and answering questions about her own personal definitions of teamwork and quality service. Sometimes she felt like she could do jobs she was only mostly qualified for, and imagine being charming in the interview and receiving an offer for a position with a salary in a cubicle. Sometimes after hearing nothing for weeks on end, she applied for part-time, no experience needed positions. In the cover letters for these, she was sometimes surprised to believe she was excited for the opportunity and especially enjoyed sandwich counter work. And sometimes so overwhelmed with cynicism during the writing of these facts that she deleted all of the application work she had done up to that point and left the room. Sometimes she gave herself motivational talks and told herself she couldn't wait to spend a nice long morning in front of the computer applying for jobs and drinking coffee. Sometimes she slept in or took a day off and made pancakes and repeated to herself in her head the phrase, day off. Sometimes she stared from her bed to the computer across the room for up to 60 minutes. Sometimes she actually forgot what she did when asked at parties. Student loan bills came in white envelopes with black lettering that urged signing up for automatic online payments, the same envelopes as other loan-related notices, and arrived in pairs. Credit card bills had small logos in some
Next
color.
stop, Beacon Hill Station.
Credit card offers had elaborate, multicolored envelopes. Food stamp-related mail came in white envelopes with serif small font, bold in name but not actuality, that looked slightly cheaper and more governmental than student loan mail. Personal mail came in pastel envelopes with her grandmother's handwriting. That's the end of the section. Her lease was up and she was out of money. She had to move away to a relative's house and keep looking for a job. The relative was an aunt, lived in a small 2-bedroom in a small town made up entirely of a few flat expanses and ranch houses and one postcard-looking downtown strip with a movie theater, a Bible bookstore/coffee shop, and a Goodwill. This is just temporary, Reagan had told her boyfriend. We should not break up yet. Then she found a job, research, remote, and it lasted just long enough to save just enough money, and now she's going back to New York to visit her boyfriend. In New York, her boyfriend meets her at the airport. They have sex that afternoon and go to a party that night. One girl Reagan knows is supposed to be at the party. When they enter, she sees just people she doesn't know. Everyone is beautiful.
Now entering Beacon Hill Station.
Her boyfriend
Doors to
exchanges
my
hugs
left.
with a group of people he knows. Reagan drinks and looks around the kitchen. A fat kid is pressing coffee. The counter is littered with squeezed lemons and bottle caps. There are photo booth pictures on the refrigerator. Outside the kitchen, another girl is grinning over her shoulder at a girl with a side ponytail while talking to a guy in dark rimmed glasses. Reagan looks around for the girl she knows. She moves into a sunlit room where the lights are off and people are dancing. She walks out of the front room into the hallway. Someone walks in again, she says. Reagan looks at her people. They look at her and walk past. Reagan walks back into the room, off the kitchen. She can't find her boyfriend. You look bewildered, someone says. She turns around. It is a skinny guy she saw talking to her boyfriend earlier. She smiles. The skinny guy does not smile back. Reagan moves back into the kitchen, then realizes she has no reason to be in the kitchen. She walks back into the bathroom, chugs the rest of her beer, and examines her eye makeup. She runs a finger under each eyelid to remove mascara flakes. She frowns at herself. In the hallway, the skinny guy is waiting for the bathroom. "Oh, hey," he says. Reagan pauses in the doorway. They smile at each other. Reagan moves out of the way. She looks down the hallway into the room of dancing people, then sinks onto the carpet, which is red and brown and cloud-shaped. The skinny guy leaves the bathroom. Reagan is blocking the door to a degree which does not prohibit anyone from exiting, but also draws attention. The skinny guy looks confused. "Reagan," he says. She laughs. "Want to dance?" he asks. "No," Reagan says. "Want to go outside?" he asks. "Okay," she says. She stands up and looks at him. Each face confronts the other. "Okay," he says. "This way." Outside the kitchen is a door with a few steps and a small fenced backyard full of bamboo and Christmas lights. Surprisingly nice, where people are crowded together with cigarettes, but it is quieter than inside. Around Reagan and the skinny guy, people keep smoking and laughing, and the smoke keeps moving in slow motion, and everything keeps being gorgeous. Reagan and the skinny guy exchange names and talk about where
For
they
your
are from.
safety, please stay clear of the doors and allow passengers to exit the train before boarding.
His name is
Thank you
Riley.
for riding South Transit's Inland Rail.
He's from Philadelphia. He has never been to Indiana. Two guys run through the door and pass them. One of them is holding a watermelon and the other is holding a beer. The guy with the beer hands it to Reagan and tackles the guy with the watermelon. Watermelon goes everywhere. One of the guys takes off his shirt. A girl in heels yells at the guys, and they jump the fence into the front yard. Reagan drinks the beer. "Have you been to the Midwest?" Reagan asked Riley. "It is a crazy place. In like 1909 or whatever, they discovered natural gas, which is like the gas that sits on top of oil, and they burned it all off in these flambeaux. Flambeaux. They made this fancy word for basically sticking a pipe in the ground and burning the gas right out. They used it to make light displays like for the state fair, and to put electricity in houses and power glass bottle plants and light the streets. And it all burned off. Now all the natural gas is gone, and this is the really good part. Underneath it is oil, millions of barrels of oil, but without the gas they don't have enough pressure to get the oil out of the ground. So it's just sitting there underneath Indiana and Ohio, these riches of the earth, and they can't be moved." Reagan's boyfriend appears finally and puts his arm around her. "It is totally crazy there," he says. "I went there and ate deep fried butter." Riley laughs and walks away. Reagan leans into her boyfriend. "Where have you been?" she asks. "Looking for you," he says. He kisses her forehead. "Should we take off?" "I have all this beer," Reagan says. She lifts the bottle. Its label is peeling from its side, fluffy and wet. "That's okay," her boyfriend says. He takes a swig and puts it down. "Come on." The street is empty the way that busy streets are empty only in the middle of the night. The curbs heavy with white trash bags, and a few people left on the sidewalk scuttling with their faces downturned. Reagan's heart is floating lightly in her chest. They hurry down the damp subway steps, and it sloshes around. She thinks they will hurry home and make love, and her heart in its puddle paddles faster. She looks at the side of her boyfriend's face. Then they wait. Reagan can't figure out why the subway steps are damp. She holds onto her boyfriend's hand until it gets sweaty. He asks if she enjoyed the party, strokes her hair, stands there sleepily watching for rats. There are two other people waiting for the train. One of them is a man asleep, sitting on a bench, holding several shopping bags stuffed with objects somehow obviously not recently purchased. The other is a man in a black hoodie, pacing. They hear a train coming and look expectantly. It is the trash train. a slow diesel engine pulling carts full of broken concrete and trash bags. Damn, she says. She and the boyfriend stare at the trash go by. Reagan looks at her boyfriend. He looks tired. She looks back at the rat on the tracks. He clearly has a hole that he lives in, but it is unclear why he comes out of the hole, why he is looking for the train too. When the train finally comes, it is bright inside and away outside time. Through the train windows, the dark subway tunnels fall away to the dark muddled haze of the city's starless night. Rooftops and subway platforms pull at her heart, and under her head her boyfriend's shoulder smells like her boyfriend and cigarettes. She feels like crying. Now that she is out of the stifling Midwest, now that she is somewhere that feels like home, and everything between her and her boyfriend feels warm and calm and unbroken. What is it now, in this quiet and accomplished moment, that's missing from her dumb, insatiable heart?